It can be hard to keep up with content during the busy holiday season, so what's your content plan? Whether you've got it all wrapped up or you still haven't decided how to approach it, this episode covers just some of the ways repurposing can help lighten the load and provide more value during the busy holiday season. You're listening to the Content 10x podcast, where it's all about content repurposing. I'm Amy Woods, and I'm here to help you maximize your content and find smart ways to get your message in front of more of the right people, whilst also saving time. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Content 10x podcast. I'm your host, Amy Woods, and in this episode, I'm sharing ideas for how to create awesome and impactful content for this holiday season using the magic of repurposing. Now, as we get to the end of the year and holidays start to draw in, we can start to have those inevitable discussions about content strategies and how they'll change, because we all celebrate different holidays depending on where we live and religion, etc. But there's Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year, to name a few. And I'm sharing this episode now because I know how it tends to get pretty hectic in this last quarter of the year. But of course, the tips that I share can be applied all year. But I know it can be a little bit stressful in this last quarter of the year trying to keep up with our content schedule. Because when it comes to the holidays, maybe you want to take a little break from creating content, but maybe you're worried about the effect it might have on your audience, or perhaps it'll be more difficult to produce the amount of content you usually do, so you need to work out ways to scale it down while still staying consistent. You might end up with a bit of a question mark over how consistent you can realistically be. I know this worries and even stresses out lots of people, hence this episode. And this is also a prime time of the year to be well aware of the approach that your competition takes. Perhaps they don't put out as much content in the holiday season, so it's the perfect time to get ahead. Or maybe they put even more than usual out and run all sorts of special seasonal promotional content and all sorts of things like that, making you feel like you don't want to get left behind. So you take a break and they go all in and the FOMO creeps in. So we've probably all been there. Now, whatever your motivation to stay consistent with your content strategy is over the holiday season, there is a way of doing it that allows you to stay on track and take a well-deserved break. That's right, repurposing can save the day. Now, I'm not just talking about your regular content creation and repurposing approach here. I'm talking about how repurposing can help you efficiently create great content that people love to consume during the holiday season. So firstly, one of the most popular types of content around this time of year is roundup or compilation content. You see it in almost every industry, with everything from this year's top-selling songs and movies collected into a BuzzFeed listicle to our best of series of podcast episodes. Now, this is the approach we took at Content 10x at Christmas and New Year in 2020. We produced 4 special episodes of the Content 10x podcast, each focusing on a different topic that we talked about a lot that year, and we pulled through some of the best tips and quotes and moments from each episode. So we had episode 163, which was the secrets of LinkedIn success, where we collected the best LinkedIn tips and advice shared in 2020, and that went all together in one podcast episode. We also had episode 164. We did very similar, but this was video repurposing. So we looked back at the words of wisdom from guests on our show like Amy Landino and Mike Ganino and put an episode together sharing those. We also had 165. That was the best content repurposing tips. So here we kind of gathered together and featured all the top tips from various guests and solo episodes and joined them together to create one podcast episode. And then finally, we had a bit of fun with episode 166 in the new year, how to repurpose like the top TV talk shows, where I looked back at the repurposing lessons we'd learned from James Corden and Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel. So this was all content that had been featured in the year, and we created these compilation episodes, and that covered us through the Christmas time and New Year time when we were super busy and trying to take a bit of time off from work as well. So you can see how these episodes were a brilliant way to repurpose content. Each one used existing content to create something new, and it meant that we didn't have to therefore create more content from scratch, but it also brought new life to older pieces we'd produced through the year in 2020 that we were really proud of and we knew could help people. So you could do something similar with your content. Perhaps you could base it on time. For example, the best podcast episodes or videos or blog posts from 2021, or topic based, such as the best podcast episodes, videos, blog posts about SEO or whatever the topic is that resonates most with you and your audience in the industry and the content that you create. Now, the good thing about curating your previous content like this into new collections or compilation content is that you've already got all this amazing content at your fingertips. It's just about packaging it up in a new way and perhaps adding a holiday twist to it as well. This type of content really can be the gift that keeps on giving around the holiday season, as you can reuse your previously repurposed content to promote this new content too. So perhaps you made some cool quote graphics or had some awesome video snippets that you created with the original content that you can now share again on social media when you feature this content in a new episode. So basically, as much as creating content in this way is a great way to create engaging and valuable content for your audience, but it's got that added bonus of really boosting the return on investment across the board from all that repurposed content that you created as well. Hey, just a little break from this week's episode to let you know about becoming a Content 10x Insider. If you want more content repurposing tips and advice, then why not join hundreds of business owners, marketers and content creators who get them delivered straight to their inbox once a week by subscribing to the Content 10x newsletter. As well as tips and advice, you get industry updates, inspiring stories, exclusive content, offers and more. You can subscribe at content10x.com/newsletter, and there's a link in the show notes too. Okay, back to this week's episode. Secondly, the other thing we often see at this time of year is lots of promotions and giveaways. You know, we've got the big Black Friday giveaways at Thanksgiving, giveaways at Christmas, etc. And they're excellent marketing activities to get people excited about your brand and generate a bit of a buzz. But you're probably thinking that you don't have time to do all of this and to manage giveaways. But if you create content, I think there may be an opportunity there, because people love free things, and when you package your high value content up as a freebie or a promotional item, people are going to want this. So think about those high value lead magnets that are kept gated. If there's value in your content, and I know there will be, then people will want it. And think about content you already have that you could package up as a giveaway. Perhaps you've got content in an online course, or perhaps you have a membership site, and could you extract some of that content from there and make that part of your Black Friday giveaway or Christmas giveaway or whatever it may be? And you may have lead magnets as well, like you might have checklists or how-to videos or white papers or whatever it may be. Could you bundle some of them together, some that could bundle together to help a particular avatar within your audience, and provide a package of lead magnets as this special giveaway bundle? Now, this idea is a bit repurposed from the compilation content idea, because ultimately it's all about collecting up pre-existing content and packaging it in a new way. The key idea remains the same, but you're providing lots and lots of value to stay front of mind, even at a time when people have plenty else on their minds as well. So if you want more tips and inspiration for holiday giveaway ideas like these, then go check out episode 61 of the Content 10x podcast. It's called The Gift of Repurposing 5 Giveaway Ideas from Your Existing Content. So just go to content10x.com/61 to get more ideas on these content giveaways that you could run through the holidays. And here are some final tips and things to bear in mind when creating and distributing content over the holiday period. The first thing is to create it in advance if at all possible. A lot of the examples I've talked about in this episode use pre-existing content to create new content. So if you have the opportunity to use that content and create and repurpose it sooner, then do it. Because there's no reason why your New Year special episodes can't be created in November. You know, the TV shows that film their New Year's Eve celebrations back in July, that's the kind of thing that we're talking about. So get in ahead of the game. The second thing is to make as much use of scheduling tools as possible. So this way you won't have to keep an eye on your platforms. It'll all go out when it's supposed to go out because you've scheduled it in advance at times when you are trying to take that break in the holiday season, but you have created content. So for social media, we recommend Buffer for simplicity to schedule your social content out on Buffer. There's also SmarterQueue, Meet Edgar, Hootsuite, Agorapulse. There's lots of social media scheduling tools. So choose the tools that are right for you and the platforms that you use. So different tools are better for some platforms over others. So it really depends on the platforms that you focus on. And it's not just scheduling social media as well. You can schedule your blog posts in advance, your podcast episodes in advance, your videos in advance. So look at where you can do this and make sure that you make the most of the opportunities to create in advance and schedule in advance. Now, I hope this episode has given you plenty of ideas for what to do with your content this holiday season and given you the peace of mind that with a little forethought and a strong repurposing strategy, you can stay consistent and provide value even while taking a well-earned break. So thank you so much for listening to this week's episode, short and sweet, and I hope that you found it useful. If you don't have a copy, then please do go grab a copy of my book, Content 10X. It's on Amazon, it's in paperback, Kindle, and audiobook format. It's also on Barnes & Noble online as well. So grab a copy, it's the ultimate guide to repurposing every type of content. All that's left to say is thank you so much for listening to this week's episode, and I'll catch you in the next one.